that moment when you're talking to yourself at random and you come across the most brilliant idea. So, welcome back to another manga review. You guys probably don't know why I'm so excited, but as I was talking to myself, I happened to recall a manga that I had read called Akumetsu. If you don't know what Akumetsu is, if you've never read it, if you've never heard of it, shame on you. Just shame, for shame on you, because this is important, okay? This is super important. Akumetsu is a brilliant Japanese manga. It was drawn by Yoshiaki Tabata, and the author is Yuki. I remember that. I usually don't remember. Anyway, so let's just get into it because there's so much I kind of want to discuss about this. So many different things. The storyline is based off of this young high schooler named Hazama Sho, right? And he is he's kind of distraught by the injustice of the world and the system, and so he decides to take matters into his own hands, and I'm going to kind of go a little bit more into that later. But needless to say, he starts taking down corrupt people in the system who have high levels of power and influence, such as politicians, such as police officers, high CEOs. It doesn't really matter to him. Those who have done wrongs and have not repented for them are those that are in trouble. So he decides to go on this venture and just deal with it all, and it's just intense. This manga is not for the light at heart. I would not suggest a child read it. That could be my own biased opinion, but I would consider it mature. There's a lot of content in there that is mature. There's innuendos, there's explicit content. There may be some nudity and stuff in there, but it's not, you know, it's not that bad. The point is, it is a mature story, and it is shonen based. Fantasy, there's a little bit of fantasy going on here, but it is set in a sort of modern day era, which is really nice. So they try to keep you kind of in the content. The set placement is, however, in Japan, so a lot of the historical figures, a lot of the things that are going on are primarily focused on how it is currently in Japan for that time period, which is really nice. So it does teach you a lot. That when I read it, I definitely learned a lot, because there is a lot of talking in this. A lot of Japanese mangas tend to focus on expressions, the feels, the screen tones, the effects, and all that stuff. However, this particular manga, while it does focus on that as well, it tends to focus a lot on the words. So it has a lot of words, a lot of concepts in there that might go over your head if you're not quite of age yet to understand. I mean, I would gear this for adults. This is an adult manga, and this author in themselves tends to draw and tends to make manga that are more geared for adults anyway. If you guys haven't heard of Akumetsu, maybe you've heard of Wolf Guy by this same author. Yeah. Wolf Guy is on a whole nother spectrum. If you thought Akumetsu was mature, Wolf Guy is like, oh, bye-bye. It's so mature. I came across it by accident. Usually I don't tend to read a lot of those hardcore mature ones because I feel like they're kind of inappropriate for my own personal beliefs. But that plot, bro, blew my mind. But let's get back to Akumetsu, because that's what we are talking about. So let's just jump into it now. So let's get it. So we're gonna focus on 3 things once more, which is the art, the plot and would I recommend this. So art style wise, the artist in Akumetsu does not disappoint. In most of the mangas that this artist has drawn, they are phenomenal. Not only is their perspective good, not only is their backgrounds good, not only is their flow good, everything about their style of art is fantastic. And if you guys don't know already, I put it in my other previous video that I tend to do like that chibi kind of extreme art style where they have big expressions on their faces and things like that. This art style also has that. So they have a wide range, which I personally enjoy. And I actually have some pages that we can look at because I'm just that awesome. Oh, I almost lost it. So, like I said, so a lot of this is, the art style is fantastic, and I'm gonna put some like key points in there so you guys can see that. But this one, if you can see it, obviously there is, you can see the words are kind of out, they're not boxed in. A lot of Japanese manga artists are really good at keeping things out of the box, keeping things loose, not keeping it structured per se, which is really nice. So you have the sound effects that are outside as usual, but I love, okay, so you see this, you can kind of see like the structure of it where they break down like certain key points. Like if you were taking a movie of this scene, you'd be like, oh, zoom in on the headlight, zoom in on the flag, zoom in on the guy who's coming, oh my goodness. And then you see the whole horde, and these are motorcycles. If you can't tell from my picture, you'll see in the bottom, they're motorcycle lights coming through the darkness because this scene is taken at night. And then you see how it's brighter because of the headlights. So it's fantastically done. You see the speed lines are all put there purposely and very strategically well done. And sometimes a lot of people don't like when there's a lot of lines or things like that, but this is not overdone at all. I was super impressed by this. I was super amazed. Telling you, this artist is just fantastic. Another page that totally blows my mind with art style is, I told you, their scenery, their backgrounds are fantastic. This background is fantastic. The perspective in it is glorious. You can kind of see the center point right there smack in the middle. Perfectly well done. These are all very symmetrical, and the people here, fantastic, fantastic. I love this scene just because of how well it's done with the art. And also you can kind of see the other things as well. So you can kind of see the other things as well. But that bottom part doesn't matter. And so finally what I was talking about, which is the chibi style form that I like. You can see it up here. He used, the artist uses it a lot to explain the more heavy concepts that the storyline gets into. And yes, it's a little dark, as I said, it is a bit more mature, not gonna lie, but the artist is able to go from a chibi style, which explains some of the harder concepts so it doesn't feel overwhelming, to that straight back into hardcore drawing, which is really good. That's why the art style is fantastic. I have no problems. I would suggest though there is a lot of hardcore concepts in here that are difficult to understand. The chibis does like loosen it up, but there is a lot of writing. If you are used to comic books, like American style comics where they have a lot of writing, this might be really easy for you to digest. But for me, who's used to that manga style, that Japanese style of writing, it came as a little bit of a heavy, like just really heavy food. I was just like, oh, can I finish this all? And that's where we get to the second point, plot. So the plot style, like I said, it's this young high schooler who is going out of his way to take down the injustice, but let's not get it confused, and this might be a spoiler if you have not read this. Not too much of a bad spoiler though. He is not a vigilante. I am not that particular fan of the superhero types. Don't get me wrong, I read academia and things like that, and I was very impressed with it. But I'm not a superhero type, Tiger and Bunny, all those other things. I was just like, but this one, he is not coming off as a vigilante, and he mentions that he is not a superhero, he is not a hero in the eye for the people or things like this. He is coming in this storyline, kid you not, this kid is pronouncing himself as a terrorist. He is a terrorist. He is, and legit, he is killing people. Let's not get it twisted. He really is killing people. So those are one of those dark, mature content themes I was talking about. But yeah, he's definitely killing people, and people do die in this manga. Not gonna lie. But they call him a terrorist for what he's doing, because he's killing people, he's burning things down, destroying things, and he says, oh yeah, I'm a terrorist, so I'm still gonna do what I gotta do. And I love it, that nonchalantness that just hits you in the feels, man. I love it. I absolutely adored that. So the plot is definitely, it's very Japanese, and I say that not in a negative way, but for instance, being in America, there's a lot of things in Japan that are slightly different than our political system and stuff like that. Not to mention the people, the historical figures that they use in this manga are very different than our historical figures. So it took me a while to kind of grasp the gist of some of the things, but I did not have to reread, I didn't have to look up or anything like that. The manga kept it pretty easy to digest in that sense, that I was able to keep going even though I'm not primarily from Japan. If I was, however, I would be able to understand a lot more of what was going on in this manga. But even though I'm not, it was still very easy to consume, which is really nice. Another thing, unfortunately, some of the hard topics, like I said, are death. There is prostitution. Another hard topic that was in there was suicide. A lot of these people, those high-ranking, influential people, had caused families and fathers and other people to commit suicide, which he was repaying them for, because he's like, yeah, you killed this person because of money. You caused this person's death over money. And unfortunately, suicide is pretty big in Japan, compared to the rest of the world, for its population at least. At least I believe for its population. I think it's a little bit higher just because they might not have as big as a population compared to other countries. But it's still a lot, and a lot of it is because they work hard. Not to say they don't play or anything like that, but they do tend to work hard, and they get overwhelmed and stressed, and they have the tradition of honor and things like that hold them high in responsibility and values. And unfortunately, they don't, a lot of them don't take the time to really cope and understand. They usually keep it within, because that's kind of how they're taught, to keep things kind of buried, put your head down and bow whether you like it or not type concept. And it's sad. I am fascinated by psychology. I have taken classes for psychology, and I even had taken a therapy for a class that I took, and I believe everybody needs to learn coping skills and stress relief and things like that. And so a lot of this stuff in the story has to do with these people in these high places of power have taken advantage of their position and caused people to do drastic things. Still, that is their choice. Nobody can really force somebody, but when you're put between a rock and a hard place, it's very difficult to make a good choice. I mean, do you really want to live in this misery, or would you rather just die and end it all? Unfortunately, and that's what it comes down to, that they would rather just end it instead of suffering continually day to day. yeah, that was the plot, but the plot really is good. I love the twist on the vigilante to terrorist thing, because a lot of our vigilantes, especially our superheroes, I feel like could be terrorists. I mean, they're coming around, destroying buildings, possibly injuring people, trying to save the vast majority. But let's just put it in perspective, okay? You're terrifying. You have powers greater than me and aren't afraid to use it. Like, I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me or hate me. I mean, my pronunciation is already going to get me killed eventually. I mean, I don't see me living a long life. Just to be honest. But let's just finish this up. Would I recommend this? Yes, I would. I definitely would recommend this. I would recommend this, only because I keep repeating myself. Would recommend this, would recommend this. I've read this story personally. I didn't say this in the beginning because I kind of wanted you to hear out what I was going to say. I've read this story like 3 to 5 times, not gonna lie. It's that good. The art is that striking, the plot is that fantastic, and the concept is pretty bad, like good, you know, slang. However that works. So, I definitely would recommend this without a doubt. So, if you are looking for something to read, something to kill time with, start with this. Definitely. Especially if you're over the age of 16. Or you're just mature enough. Because this really is a mature manga as well. I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it because it is mature, but I felt like I should just because. Yeah, just because. It's a good read. What I wouldn't recommend maybe is if you're a little younger, is Wolf Guy. I do think that is a little bit more mature for a lot of young children, so yeah, don't read through all of their works. But definitely read Akumetsu, A-K-U-M-E-T-S-U, Akumetsu. But yeah. Definitely read it, and I will hopefully talk to you guys later. If you like it, click that like button. If you don't like it, don't click anything. Like, just ignore it. Like, why are you gonna hurt my ego by pressing a dislike button? That just seems like mean and hurtful. Why would you go out of your way to watch a video until the end and just click the dislike button? That's just rude. I mean, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't, I promise. I'm losing my mind right now. I'm so losing it. I'm gone. Okay, bye.